Do the pledge of allegiance. You start. Pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
So I got a camera, man, it'll be properly set up, so I'm gonna move it back a little bit.
Alderman Dillon, present. Alderman Key.
Do you have any agenda amendments?
I will need to make one. There was a board authorization on the bids last week for, Public Works tolling. One of the employees had made a flaw on the bid, and had merit stop and go up to bid at the board meeting. The issue has been addressed with the member of staff that made the decision, but because that bid was put out to somebody else, and then the decision was made to change it, it'll be adjusted on the minutes. The company is, Fluence, maybe other company is satisfied that, the solution we have in place is they'll get the whole side of it. Should be approximately the same value of what they would have had the, new side.
The little spice just add that in minutes. That is.
So,
All right, as far as the consent agenda. Everybody have a chance to review that. Do you have any questions? Go ahead. Yeah.
thanks.
Have the first and the second. Alderman Villiers. Yes. Alderman Key.
Yes.
Alderman Wilson.
Yes.
And Alderman Swatash.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions on the consent agenda? Everybody satisfied with the consent agenda? You have a motion?
On the summary of current events, I think there's a typo in paragraph 2. Working deliberately, diligently. I don't know if I'm change that. Summary current events, second paragraph. Second line, middle of the page.
Before I can see.
Still like.
Yeah. Second paragraph, second line, middle of the page.
Help me. Yeah, I think that was working. If there's nothing else, we have a motion.
second. Alderman Villyer,
Yes.
Alderman Key,
Yes.
Alderman Wilson, and Alderman Spotted. Thank you.
And number 4, current and standing invoices, background check paid invoices for June 5/20.
Question about that tonight. I know attendance and be. That on last.
I'm not.
That gonna be in charge of the file.
I mean, I'll have to check with Carolyn, sure. I will check on that and let you know.
Any other questions? We get a motion for, updating invoices.
Alderman Villyer,
Yes.
Alderman Key,
Yes.
Alderman Wilson,
Yes.
and Alderman Spotted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
5, citizen input. Does anybody would like to come forward? Here's your name and your address. Nobody, moving on. Item number 6, approve city utilities copier printer maintenance agreement.
So right here, the city already entered into an agreement with Lakeland to maintain the equipment. They reached out to us. They hadn't received a copy of this agreement yet. We've checked our records, found no evidence they actually submitted it. So that's why if you look, there's actually a service commencement that's before current date. It's the same agreement the city's been under previously. Came by copies, they finished the Tona, service the equipment. So it's kind of a routine, ongoing agreement that we gather and sign once a year. We approved the agreement that got the machines in the building, but this is a separate agreement that we pay by, the number of copies we make and the number of scans we make. It's more the maintenance side of the agreement than the actual equipment side.
Separate from what we've already.
We would have extended both, but we didn't have them both at the same time. They we did. Probably so. We can buy some Epsons and print on those, but this is probably okay.
Should we have this proper agreement in place?
And we have first and second, Alderman Failure. Alderman King. Alderman Wilson.
Yeah.
And Alderman Swaka.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 7, update the appointment of city administrator Wes Young as the voting alternate to the Ozark Transportation Organization Board of Directors with the new mayor Joyce Smith.
This is when we kind of had some wedding challenges on Friday. Basically, it's pretty routine. I'm already on there as an alternate, but since the election, we have to now have you on there as the new mayor. The mayor is the voter, and then I'm the alternate. So the mayor is just changes the place out. Good.
That was nothing. We don't need any motion, correct?
Correct.
All right, item number 8, recommendation consider approval for an agreement with Placer.ai.
This was a demo product that Donna had seen prior to me getting here, and she had told me it looked pretty good, but she wasn't going to make a decision because she was outgoing. So they've reached out to me. Very interesting product. It captures all the data kind of scarily from cell phones, removes all the personal information, tells you where people go, what people see, what people do without saying Wes did this, Wes did that. The data on it was absolutely fascinating. It's used by companies like Walmart, CVS, Stifel Engineering, and so many others. What we saw in this was we can use this to make data-driven decisions as far as areas that we look at for commerce, for development, so much more traffic studies. We can see people going here, there, and everywhere. One test case we put it against was Freedom Fest. They were able to look at last year's Freedom Fest, and based on the foot traffic coming in, there was 6,500 people visited Freedom Fest last year. Parks knew that the visitor count was down a little bit this year, so we pitted it against that. It showed it to 2,100. They also had anecdotal stories about people going from the swimming pool to Freedom Fest, back to the pool. The product was actually able to show that pattern where they visited the park, visited the aquatics pool, back to the pool.
So theoretically, we'd be able to see if they come from Freedom Fest or other events, what stores they visit.
And we put it to that test too. Number one visit right after was McDonald's, interesting here in Council. And then Balco Mall was another one down there in Springfield. So it helps us kind of see these patterns. Another interesting pattern that it showed us was the retail linkage for our town. So we can better address what businesses do we need to try and reach out to see if they can get here.
That's what I was going to ask, if they have any capability as far as projection that would say, 60, 200 people went to Freedom Fest. If you had company X, why amount of people would we possibly went to that?
We make that connection, but yes, I mean, you can strip out where they go within town, without town. A lot of people went to Texas Roadhouse, and I don't know if we'll get a Texas Roadhouse here, but it gives you the information that, well, maybe we need a steakhouse at least. So the data was very, very compelling. Other companies bigger than Willard who have the money and the manpower to look into it found it to be 98% accurate, which is pretty impressive. One area that we did look into showed about a $26 million shortfall in town, which would equate to about $650,000 in lost sales tax revenue that we could potentially recover if we're targeting the right commercial business in the town. So we are hoping, I think it will very much help Mike in his efforts. Certainly help me, it certainly gives some options for public works to do street mapping and traffic counts. We are hoping that they will consider allowing us to have access to the tool. They have given us a good deal just to start us off since we're midway through a year. $9,000 for 1 year, $11,000 for the second year for a 2-year agreement. We can plan just for 2025 and do 1 year at $11,000.
And is there a monthly charge also?
One charge,
One
1 year,
time fee?
all access, everything, as many accounts as we want. They'll support us if we need reports, if we can't figure out how to get it, they'll help us set it up. But I think it kind of helps give us a nice push start. Right, we're working on things that Mike's currently got in progress. And if we're successful, it potentially has a high potential bang for itself very quickly. Not to my knowledge, I did want to ask because if we're the first, I want to be the first and not tip anybody else.
No, I
They say they have municipalities, but they don't have them listed on their website. But they do have lots and lots of other businesses that we do know on their website, which gives us another in because as far as if Mike and I are talking to a business that uses the software, they can't watch everywhere at all times. But if we tell them we've reviewed this data and place it, then they can kind of make that connection. We're already talking the same language and we look serious because we've approached them. We already know what they know. Now they may start looking at us, seeing us as a serious contender for their business. We've already identified a few just from me kind of looking at the screenshots and seeing. But I've had Mike kind of join me on another demo just to kind of see, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? I think about as excited as I did with it. It was a very compelling product that I think it has enough potential that it's worth a shot. Yes, that was in the back of my mind. I'm thinking if this is anonymous, but someone somewhere has non-anonymous data and think that is incredibly scary. And it only obviously tracks people with a location turned on, but it doesn't again say Wes Young went to. That was the other interesting test case that did show a little guy come from Southeast Kansas not too long ago. 2 separate occasions, so I knew it was pretty accurate.
No,
It shows me, but I don't think there are many people came from that town to Willard on that time frame, but I could be wrong.
and from a budgetary standpoint, be an easy acquisition, sort of just moving some money around.
Yeah, we can do it with it. We got
It's very intriguing.
With the presentation, I mean, just to be able to go out to the potential people and say, not only do we have, not only is there a $30 million leakage that we're leaking to, our customers are already going to your businesses.
Can you explain word leakage real quick as far as meaning that that's money we're not getting?
So yeah, they're spending, they're spending $14 million in groceries in Willard General, but they're spending 44 overall. So that means, 26 is going somewhere else. And not only does it say, hey, you're losing this money, it tells you by percentages. 18% are going here, 22% are going here by store. So, I mean, it's pretty intriguing where you could go to the store and say, they're shopping at your place already. Why don't you go look closer and save yourself,
It's pretty interesting. I mean, if we proceed, I'd love to give you guys a demo of it and show you around. It's very interesting. And my first question to this guy was, so how badly do we need Chick-fil-A? Everyone thinks they need Chick-fil-A. And interestingly enough, it barely make the top 10 places that our people go to. So that gives us a great example of, if we go by what we think we know, the community may even think, yeah, we need a Chick-fil-A, that'd be great, but the data says differently. It actually says next to McDonald's and Sonic, they're already going to here being the number one and number two for us, which is great. Chick-fil-A would make the number three, but we know they wouldn't. So we can pursue that and more directly target our efforts to bring in the right business for our community.
Absolutely. I think we might cut out a lot of unnecessary wasted time too, because you know that you're gonna be shooting, you might want to know what the target is.
Exactly. We don't have a lot of time, but if we focus that time effectively on exactly what we need, community will respond as well. And businesses show up. Mhm.
Who will have access to the data?
Any member of staff, they said we can have as many accounts as we would like. All access, there's no features that are blocked from us. We have everything. We can even look at a different city. If we find a city that's kind of similar, we can look at their data and see what they look like as comparisons as well. So we can do whatever we want once.
Would business owners of Willard be able to analyze the data?
That may be a licensing question. I suspect the licensing would say, yeah, but we could always,
How to.
they could always reach out to us and we can always check it. We can always check it.
So would you? Or would you have a specific title or certain people in certain positions who would have access?
I think to begin with, we would just have the people who need really to use it, because everybody doesn't need to be poking around in it. And then as far as external sources, I don't see a problem with asking, but I think if we release any information from a paid product, we have to check kind of what the parameters would place it. But certainly internally, if someone needs to know, we can give them access, tell them what it says. It's a lot of data, so I can't imagine anybody needing to program their utility billing. It would be a resource if they have a good case. Public Works is one that I hadn't thought of, but was a good example. Maybe they could do an account because you could drop a pin on a spot and 24 hours later have a track account. From an example they did for us, we had 500,000 impressions went through on 160 in Jackson on that roundabout. It was 24 hours a week, 24 hours. So that for them would be good information. If it's a busy road and they find out it's busier than they think, maybe we don't shut it down next week. We put a sign up for a month, then do it. So they probably have a use case. Just some random thoughts we bounced around.
And data updates really quickly on it.
Yeah.
They don't hold the data. So, I mean, when Tap House comes in August, you'll be able to see before and afters really quickly.
It goes all the way back to 2017 as well. That was when the data started.
Watch the growth and.
And I suspect there's a whole bunch more in there that we didn't get to see in our 245-minute demos. It's just, you can see all the menus and see. And that was when the guy told us, if there's any reports that you don't see or don't have or can't figure out, we will help you. It's just so much data in there. They can create customer reports, whatever we need. So we were just kind of blown away. I mean, it was very exciting and very interesting at the same time, and very scary. I would turn my location off, but I need to tell me what stuff is.
But I think it's every app that you have the trashing, they buy their data.
Yeah.
Well, we have limited resources, limited staff, and especially in the finance department, pretty much everything. It sort of makes you more efficient. Really fun.
And I think it makes the potential for a good win a little easier if we can get a good win. Not only will it pay for itself, but it'll help us pay for the other things too that we need to get figured out.
One thing our firm does is economic development, so two different avenues of financing, but one of the things it starts off with is always, you should know your traffic counts in high areas that someone businesses ask. You could be like, here's exactly how many people come by here every day.
Yeah, that's why we like that impression. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of impressions.
Because how many of us in here, for instance, per privacy of traffic out of that road. You know, if we were business owners, we never thought of that, and there's data that showed this is a traffic count, then all of a sudden, maybe each business owner not interested in moving Wilton.
Not that we would necessarily want it, but that would sell them. It's little nuggets of information that can make a big difference in the
You know, those guys, I mean, business owners, like anything else, with their data bricks. They want to see the numbers and they want to see the data. You know, they don't want to take someone's work for this, so it gives us the ability to provide data.
Exactly.
Factual.
We should immediately be speaking their language.
Yeah.
We've got reasonable assurance that they don't track, you know, people on red bullet bikes, so.
Well, everybody likes it, or doesn't like it, you get a motion.
Second.
Alderman Failure,
Yes.
Alderman King,
Yes.
Alderman Wilson,
Yes.
and Alderman Swadosh.
Yes.
Item number 9, annual state statutory code updates and implementation process. The second reading, anything else we need to do?
Just the routine, second from last time.
Ordinance adopting and enacting a new code of ordinances establishing the same, providing for the repeal of certain ordinances not included therein, except as herein expressly provided, providing for the manner of amending such code of ordinances, providing penalty for the violation thereof, and providing when this ordinance shall become effective.
Big motion to approve.
And second, Alderman Failure,
Yes.
Alderman King, Alderman Wilson,
Yes.
and Alderman Swadosh.
Yeah.
Okay, item 10, ordinance recommending consideration of updating section 130.040 of the city code to enhance the purchasing and contracting procedures.
That's just a first read if you decide to proceed with it. So not necessarily action for tonight. What I've tried to do is align a current policy for purchasing with the goals and the expectations that already exist within it that are kind of loosely alluded to. I'll line it up with some of the other communities in Missouri as far as what they're doing and what's well for them. One of the main challenges we're trying to overcome here is getting bids. It's not always a competitive process because you only have one person to show up to do it. Bidding can be detailed, and if companies don't get a bid maybe once, they may come back again, they may not. 3 or 4 times down the road, they suddenly go, what's the point? So we're trying to unlock a more informal bidding process here. They can just kind of give us a quote. Please show up, tell us what you think it is, see if it's really that. Of that number there. Costs have risen a lot in recent years as well, so we're just kind of trying to be a bit more nimble there. And then we're trying to update as far as our ability to respond to things. If something's going on that we need to respond to quickly. And it gives us the ability to hopefully do so without waiting a couple of weeks or maybe several weeks if we have a lot of discussion on it. We've also introduced in there a bonus for local business to try and encourage some local businesses to reach out. So if they're within 10% of our lowest price, it gives us the option to kind of let them have it to encourage those to join in. So we're hoping to promote a little local economic growth by trying to prioritize local things. What I want to be clear, it doesn't allow us to spend money we don't have. So though we're increasing some of the limits on that, we still can't spend money we don't have. It still requires a budget amendment price limit. So we're not going to be spending money we don't have. We're not going to spend money that's not authorized. The other thing that it requires in there, instead of getting a budget amendment kind of after the fact, as it seemed to me. We're gonna get it before we even do it. So we'll have all the discussions on the front end, and if it doesn't proceed, then we just keep trucking. We're aligning the state and federal limits. You'll see in the policy draft, I put in kind of the thresholds for the federal spending. There's certain requirements you should go further up the federal spending ladder. There are certain extra requirements you should put in there. So we're aligned to that, and we're considerate of that. And as we do main federal work, which receive grants of federal funding, we're making sure that we're aligned with that process nice and neatly as we go up that spending ladder. It does boost administrative limits and keeps us aligned to legal requirements. And again, the main focus here is just to get those actual bids in. Doesn't change department level spending. One other thing you did add, did mention, if you've authorized a contract, and allow me on your behalf to sign it, to me in hand, so we don't have to wait another 2 weeks to bring something back to you guys to reconsider. So we're kind of enhancing our efficiency, responsiveness, and standards, doing the same thing, just taking into account the fact that stuff.
Never.
Yeah, we don't need that. That's the first read. All right. Item number 11, ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with B&G Concrete for the sidewalks of the 8 community support.
This one was did this include the brief?
Did not include the bid. Not include the bid. So, as directed by the board, you asked for a bid to put in about 925 feet of 5-foot sidewalk in the ATM commercial development. This includes, the underlayment, about 320 tons of gravel and about 60 yards of concrete with labor. There were some add-ons that in the original agreement that were not taken into account for truncated domes for the handicap ramps. It's just the uneven surface that allows handicapped people to know they're going off the sidewalk into a traffic laden area. Some different things like that. The price came in really well. Usually it's $55 a square foot or so. It came in at $35. That's a linear foot, excuse me, for the sidewalk. So we put together several options on it. Obviously, the first option is to, accept the bid at as advertised at 35,000, hoping that there's no overages. In the ordinance itself, we've asked for a stipend of $5,000 to be added to the contract to be directed by the Public Works Director for any overages. And he would be accountable for that. He would obviously be documenting, hey, this is for extra concrete, or this is for the truncated domes, or anything like that. But that would allow them to move forward with the project without having to come back with another budget adjustment on the same project. Or knowing that this is an only bid, I did talk to Public Works about this, and this is one of those things where they said that, Willard has problems with bidding because they've asked for bids and nothing's ever went through, so he said, this is the only concrete guy that will call me back. So, we have some other projects coming up, and I just said, we have to keep trying, but as long as they have that documented, that they've tried to get other bids through email and text, everything like that, technically they comply with the code. So this is what was submitted to us. And that's what we're proposing is to move forward with the current bid that we have to take care of our part of the ATM commercial sidewalks.
This is our section.
Correct.
We're responsible for 925.
Well, we're responsible for actually like 350 feet, but it doesn't help us at all to, just connect ATM commercial with the neighboring subdivision. We're actually connecting it to AV.
Do you have a map of where this could be?
Oh,
Hold on, I can.
yes. So our section will go from Barwick, we'll have to put a bridge in on New Melville. And then we put in about 300 feet on New Melville. And then on the north side of the road,
So the bridge is included in here, is that what
the bridge is not.
Force allowance is for?
No, the force allowance is for any overages. They did put in handicap, truncated domes and different things like that. So this just allows the Director of Public Works to go through and finish the project off without having to come back and for a petition of funds.
Do we know what the cost of the bridge is?
I haven't received anything on the bridge as of yet. I can follow. I'll follow up on that.
Well, on this map here, our section is right here, right?
So our section would be right here. So we're gonna go from Barwick. Can you come over to Western Control and turn on that way? You see it so everybody can see? Yeah, thank you.
So our section will start right here at Barwick and we'll go hopefully crossing a bridge right here on the covert. We'll put a crosswalk across, then we have about 200 feet right there. The remaining 600 feet is gonna go from this section right here to AB and connect us with the sidewalk right here. So the neighborhood will be connected to the sidewalk that leads all the way up Farmer.
And then the fill in there will be by the contractor.
Correct. I've been in contact with the contractor. He believes they will be mobilizing the second or third week of August for installation of their portion. So that's where we're at that.
Next to be able to attach those neighborhoods connection.
Yeah, and he understands that he had the 90-day contract and everything like that, and he's ready to mobilize in
Right.
August.
Pose the question, we have a small piece of sidewalk on the road that needs to be completed. Is that something we could maybe do as a change order to this contract and see if this contractor would be interested?
I put a note down to ask Justin about that. I don't see why not, but we'll ask the question and get a price.
Any savings
Mhm.
with in doing both?
Yeah, one would think with one mobilization, we benefit from that a little bit. So we'll put the question to him and see if it comes in under the previous quote.
And Justin had talked about the Hunt Lane project that they were looking at that. So I only imagine, they're only mobilizing once, it should be good, right?
You said that might be when, August?
Hopefully so. So Carolyn confirmed to me that the amount was budgeted. I think Justin was of the understanding it had not made the budget cut, but it is in there at 20,000. His last quote on it was 16,000, so we should be well within that. It may have gone up a little bit since he got the quote. So I guess the price would be 16,000 on a change order.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
Have we worked with this contractor before?
Yes, this is one of the only contractors that are calling me back right now. And
I think they laid the pad for city utilities.
yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, once we start getting bids out and bids completed, I think that's only going to stimulate other contractors to say, hey, maybe we should give Willard a second try because they're actually pushing some stuff. So, but yeah, they did do the pad on the new shop and the sidewalk and stuff.
Questions?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with DME Concrete Solutions for sidewalk with the
Item number 12, Hoffman Hill Phase 2 final plat.
So Hoffman Hills is one of our primary developments at this time. In off Ocean Road in between Hunt and Miller Roads. They're working on finishing everything up. We've been through the process with them, going through the subdivision, construction drawings, punch lists of items that we've found out in the subdivision itself. They've completed all of it. They've been great to work with. We've had on-site meetings where there are questions and everything like that. Just a pretty smooth process. Saying that, I mean, we went through this punch lists and everything like that, and I went through the whole subdivision, and I was super excited that we're going to be pushing this forward to planning commission, and I didn't even notice they didn't have any signs. But that's been taken care of. We've talked with the developer and everything like that, and the signs are on order. They'll be installed here shortly. So as planning and zoning and public works and everything like that, we have absolutely no issues with the subdivision moving forward. They're installed to city standards, and it's been a really smooth process.
Do we have any questions? Can you get a motion?
Hoffman Hills Phase 2 final plat. Second.
Alderman Kane, Alderman Wilson,
Yeah.
and Alderman Swatch.
Yes.
And Mayor, just a request, before you step out today, could I get you to sign their Mylar? They're wanting to record this as soon as possible, so the bank will release. So,
Absolutely.
thank you.
All right, item number 13, addition of personal storage to the M1 zone.
So as we're going through the code, there's a lot of stuff we're finding, and we're taking things point by point, and this was just some low hanging fruit that we were able to identify and move forward on. But in 2018, it was decided by the board that we should not have storage units in the commercial zone, which I thought was a great move. They took mini storage out of the commercial zone, but they also took it all the way out of the code. There was no provision for self-storage left in the code. So if you know, me and my evil ways would have saw that, I would have came in and said, haha, guess what? You can't do this. And I want something right on 160, you know? So what we're proposing is to put personal storage in the M1 zone. That gives them a place that they can do mini storage or monthly storage on a personal level, but they will have to be zoned for manufacturing. We still will not allow that in the commercial zone. We want commercial zones, we want prime zones, and these are secondary zones.
You have a map you can pull up, show us the zones.
Fine.
Because when you say personal,
Mini storage.
as many as they want, as many that will fit down to that parcel of land.
They still have to same thing as any development. They still have to meet setbacks and everything like that, and they still have to present it as but currently we don't have any M1 zoning. So everything is zoned along the 160. It's zoned commercial or mixed use. So there is no current M1 zone. There haven't been a big run on storage units. You know, I had a conversation with somebody today that they might be looking at some storage units, you know, but that's why we're wanting to push this through, because they need an avenue. There's no current code on it. And I don't have, like I said, looking at we don't have any M1 right now. And in the future, it just goes to mixed use. So I would just have to add M1 on there, or they just do a mixed use and they can put storage units on it. So, but currently that, I believe, Mayor, there's no M1 zoning in the city.
Could we not wait until there is?
We could possibly wait till it is, but this still gives them no direction. I don't have an avenue for, I don't have to get the code through.
I think the key word there is no direction. So if it's something we might want to entertain in the future, put it in the codes. Somebody, oftentimes, a business that may want to move here is going to look at our code to see what's allowed here. If it's not in there, they want to approach. If it's in there, then they may approach and they'll say, "Fine, this is my proposal. This is what I'd like to do," and then he can guide them kind of, well, in this case, we'll need to set up a zone. Where are you thinking? And that opens the conversation. If it just isn't allowed, they're going to assume we're not even open to it, and they'll move to a community that is.
And anytime the city gets into a situation where they says thou shalt not, or you have no option, that's when you get into legal trouble. So that's when they say, yes, I can, and I can sue you to do it. So.
Okay, so we don't have any current M1 zoning anywhere in Willard. Can you give me an illustration of perhaps an area of land that might or could be in the future turned into M1?
M1 zoning, typically follows, commercial. I mean, we have a lot of airports. We have a lot of airport runway space that around the airport that would be great M1 manufacturing, warehousing, different things like that they could be accommodated in the federal regulations where housing and high-rise buildings will not. So you see that in a lot of other airports. They have the storage and the manufacturing stuff around the airport. And we have an airport right here that we could make planes.
What I'm getting at is like nothing down Jackson Street or.
No, nothing down Jackson Street.
What about
Hunt Road,
then you go north of Hoffman Hills?
that's that's all commercial right now. I have a hard time, especially with the situation with where we're at. I mean, ultimately, the decision would be yours, but I have a hard time trading commercial for manufacturing. There, especially storage units, there's no return for the city. And that's why it was taken out of the commercial zone, is because it's relatively cheap to build, but there's no return on the city. No return for the city. So you're giving up prime property for no return. So we're giving them a zone to put it in,
Well, we don't have the zone.
but they can zone it just like anybody else. If we have the zone on the books, they can zone that property to manufacturing if it fits the description. So we're giving them an avenue to move forward. Even though nothing on the map is brown, if it's on the books, they can go through the process and make it happen still. So,
I'm gonna show maintenance as your code. Do you let them go backwards in zoning? Like, could they put an M1 and an M2? Or you have to rezone that?
you could put an M1 in an M2, but you can't put an M2.
Right.
Correct.
So they could go higher zoning.
Correct. Yeah. So if you go to the more restrictive manufacturing, you can do everything you can do in an M1 plus additionally what's in the M2. It's the same thing in commercial. If you zone it C2, you can do everything you can do in a C1 and everything you can do in a C2 because it's the more restrictive zone. So that would work in any manufacturing zone you could put storage.
So at this time, is there an appetite or provide please about what?
I mean, if you would have asked me yesterday, I would have said no, but I did have somebody talk to me today about possible storage units. So, like I said, if you would ask me yesterday, I would have said no, but we need to clean up the code to give them an avenue in case they come, but, I mean, we'll see. I did have somebody talking about mini storage today, so. They are cash cows.
I know they are.
You've had a lot.
It's right there, all the ones going up on the highway and 18 Tuesdays.
Any other questions?
Would it be a state assessment to speculate that the areas, say, E and AB, who are able to experience growth in areas such as that?
My vision of it would be more, EE and Farm Road 103. It's closer to the airport, everything like that. It's still a major beltway, so you'd still be able to get major. I mean, it's still very accessible. But ultimately, it's up to you. Ultimately, it'll be up to the planning commission and the board of aldermen to decide. But
Has P and Z discussed this?
yeah, this has been through P&Z. They had no concerns. Like I said, I hadn't had anybody approach me at that time. But like I said, this is just like anything else. If I was to come forward with a commercial development and my land was not zoned commercial, I would still have to go through the process of rezoning the land, presenting my idea to the planning commission, getting it approved through the board of aldermen. This is the exact same process. We're just making sure they have an avenue to do that. That's all this is.
So theoretically, if somebody did ever want to come to Main Street or 160, one smack dab in the middle of town, they'd have to go through that process. Great to read this.
Would this be something we want to look at later on through our cellular data? Normalize?
I don't think it'd make any difference. This is more preparatory than it is necessity. That may identify the things. This is just putting something in the code that somebody can look at our city website and go, wow, I'm thinking about doing mini storage. I wonder if they even allow it. It's just opening the door to a conversation. If they want to slap it in the middle of Jackson, they're going to have to get through these guys and you guys. We have all to agree that maybe it is a good idea before it can happen. So it's not permitting anything other than the conversation that takes place.
That conversation wouldn't happen if this wasn't in there.
Correct. Because they most likely would bypass us and go somewhere else.
And
But they probably.
just to give you an example of that, one of the former cities I was on the board of aldermen, they came out and said, "Thou shalt not have billboards within city limits." And the billboard company saw that and they came in and sued the city and says, "We shall have 6 billboards at your cost in city limits." And the city said, the judge said, "Yes, you are right." And that's what we're trying to avoid. You have to give them an avenue. They're still going to have to go through the process. They're still going to have to go through P&Z. They're going to have to go to the board of aldermen. And we have codes that don't allow them in places. They can't put a mini storage on 160 anymore because you have the 160 overlay. It does not allow mini storage on 160. But other than that, we're just allowing a process. That's what we're trying to do. Just allow a process.
There's not a discussion. There's not written. You just have this.
I do not have a written ordinance, so this is just discussion.
I don't know if my book was not open. Snap, how did that
You
happen?
can do both readings next time, so.
So,
Talk amongst yourself.
and just forewarning, 14 and 15 are the same way, so. Let's talk about the ball.
It's better to be,
You know what, if
it's good we can talk about it.
Okay, I like knowing what I'm gonna be
you can never be too prepared in your zoning. You don't want stuff coming and going somewhere you don't want it. So the better you are at being prepared with zoning, it's much easier to defend on the backside of, we have your areas established, and here's where they are, even though they may not be where you want them to be. It's better than not having them and then at corner somebody trying to tell you where to get it.
So,
All right, you want to talk about, item number 14, revision to the variance code for school signage?
14 and 15 there are tied together, so if you don't mind if I
Absolutely.
bounce back and forth. So we recently had an upgrade at the Willard High School, which they put in a new storm shelter, auditorium, everything like that. They came to us for some new signage on the building. Unfortunately, our R1 zone does not allow school signage greater than 12 square feet or something like that in a residential zone. Because schools can go in an R1 zone. So they're not regulated to large setbacks. They can go into a residential neighborhood and everything like that. That's why they're there. This was an oversight on our part. And looking at the variance code, according to our variance code, we could not even grant them the variance for the signage because our variance code has 4 or 5 major points that in order to get a variance, you have to meet one of these 4 or 5 points. And that's there for a reason because we don't want to open the floodgates. We want the code to be the rule and the variance to be the exception. And you'll be granted an exception under these very tight stipulations. And that's how it was written. But we had no avenue for the school district at all to put in signage. The one benefit to that is when they come in and they submit something on the building side, a school can go in an R1 zone according to zoning with no problems. So they came in and submitted this addition, and fortunately it had the signage in the submittal. And I'm glad I checked that before I rejected them with a nice nasty letter saying, sorry guys, we're not going to do any of this. But as they submitted it with their building permit, it was allowed in the R1 zone. They can go forward as submitted and as reviewed. So they didn't have to worry about zoning, or they didn't have to worry about variances and everything like that because it was submitted with their building permit and that building was allowed in their zoning. So they were free to put the signing up according to how they submitted it. But what this is for anything future, if the school wants to change their sign and everything like that, we have revisions, or we have wording. I don't have ordinances, but we have revisions in the R1 zone that does allow for school signage. And we have a new point in the variance code that allows 4 changes of school signage on the variance. The R1 zone does limit it to 40 square feet. So if it's a larger sign that's bigger than 40 square feet that's not attached to a building, they will have to go through the variance process. But other than that, wall signs, illuminated signs, monument signs are allowed up to 40 square feet into our zone. That's just clarifying, a loophole that we found that wasn't addressed in our variance ordinance and in our R1 zone ordinance. So, discussion.
They keep winning the state championship, we keep putting up 40 by 40 banners on the school.
And 40 by 40 banners
80 by
all
80.
day. It has to be permanent signage.
Exactly.
So they have to be state champs year after year after year after year. We just keep putting check marks next to it.
I like it.
You worked on our repaint the water center.
Not your green.
We can do that. So I will, I apologize for that. I will get this updated with ordinances and resubmit.
Any questions while we're talking about it? Item number 16, sanitary sewer project status.
Well, on the 94 lift station and force main project, our remark is about 80% complete, plan profile design. The replacement main from 94 to the connection city of Springfield. They've added some additional personnel to accelerate this design and get it moving along the technical point to bid. The Meadows connection, they're 98% completed design. That's from the lagoon to the connection with the city of Springfield and the city of Springfield's airport lift station. I've reviewed the preliminary plans to date, so it's Justin and Trevor. These plans are subject to change if there's difficulty acquiring easements, but we did meet with the majority landowner this afternoon and are in agreement in principle for an easement for 2,000 foot of gravity main across the property. That leaves us two other minor property owners. I'll start dealing with them later. And there's still little issues there, 103 and 106 interchange, farm 106 and 103. I think they're getting that worked out. It has to do with pouring into the road and missing all the garbage that's in the ground. Fiber, electric, everybody's brothers in there. So we're about ready to get that nailed down. So we'll meet with the minority landowners, get agreement in principle. Our market print the easement documents for their review. And plan after that is to get this thing packaged out to bid, submit a DNR for approval. And we want to accelerate the 94 force main. We've done that by adding that. I'd like to basically point these out to bid at the same time. I'd really like to have the 94 force main bid first. Now tell us where we stand financially for the city's share of the cost. Because 80% federal funding, 20% city on the 94. On the Meadows, it's basically 100% city. Now, we're using the market funds for about half of that. And they don't have the regulations that the EPA puts. So get these things up, get a bid, get a cost them down, and then be ready. That's important. Still got some improvements to make the lift station, make it a tri-flex pump arrangement compared to duplex or two pump arrangements. Now, that's included and also in the congressional earmark. And the focus on is sportsmen. That's one of the subjects. Very specific.
Try and keep these somewhat brief. We issued an RFQ to try and focus our efforts on our sewer challenges as far as I&I and kind of what we can tackle to generate or more revenue from our sewage instead of treating rainwater. That did unlock a conversation with Alva Martin here today. Some of the plans that we're looking for may already exist, so we're going to have this conversation. So may already exist. We found some documents, and we think some of it got lost and shuffled over the time. So hopefully we'll read the plans and visit with Trevor and kind of get a better understanding of that. Maybe we can tackle some of it ourselves and figure out what's left. We're going to have to consider bidding out. I think the agreement was that the I&I ordinance that was recently passed will be helpful in controlling some of that. They could figure about 40% of what we pay sewage to Springfield is just a tree brain. That's a staggering cost. We just got an invoice for $180,000 last winter Springfield sewer treatment. So you can imagine 40% of that is just for rain. So that will very helpful. It's a great conversation. I think it may well lead to some action. I think over the years it maybe got lost since the plan was put in place. working towards that. Feel pretty optimistic we can get something going there. Jackson, good news on Jackson. Federal folks approved the plan. Their documents were completed. They are going to be published Thursday in the news leader. So that pace is going probably about as fast as we can get it. The timeline that I saw advertised at OTO was well ahead of it at the moment. So potentially we'll see some asphalt on Jackson before the year's end. So that's pretty good. Budget, as we're gearing up to budget prep, I'm just going to put a plug in there for you guys. Just think about, just if funds allow, I'd like to try and set a fund aside of about 100,000 for matching funds. There's a lot of grant opportunities out there that if we have funds available that we can throw a grant opportunity, you know, think 80-20 match, 100,000, let's do a $500,000 project. If we don't use it one year, we just pool it. Next year, let's do $1 million project. And it just continues to pull. So we're going to work on trying to get plans, specs, quotes, and things that the city looks like it will need, so we can reach into our dream folder, as what I usually call it, pull it out, hopefully start getting some grant applications out there. Not having a plan and not having matching funding is usually the reason we want, but not having access to grants. So we want to try and kind of get that there. Just kind of put the plug out there. Regarding Facebook, we learned on the week of the 11th that to post to the city Facebook account, and I'm not a Facebooker by any means. Apparently you have to have a staff member with a Facebook account, and that staff member has to be willing to be an admin on the city Facebook page. If you don't have those two things, you cannot post to the city Facebook page. So the week of the 11th, 2 staff members are out. We need to make a post to Facebook. So that was a problem. So it impedes our communications. Facebook is, contrary to public opinion, not the place that you can get their information from public. Except myself, I don't do Facebook. My wife, she doesn't do Facebook. I'm sure we're not unique in the community. So we're trying to find alternative ways to create a main channel of information that becomes our official public channel, which in my opinion should be the website. Everybody with the internet can at least access the website, which is probably a lot of people that have Facebook. We have found a product that will allow us to update our Facebook. I'm sorry, I'm stuck with Facebook now. Will allow us to update our website. It also comes with an app, and it also communicates with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, which a lot of folks do Instagram. And so we can make a post on our city website and tell it we want it to go to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and it will put it out there for us without any extra effort. Which, as they demonstrated, it kind of gives us a PIO role. So anybody in the city that thinks there's information that needs to go out can submit some information on the website, and then it will come to me to review, approve, and push out, and whoever else can review and push out. So it gives us more an opportunity to put information out. And I like to see, you know, more of the good that we do as a city. There are a lot of projects going on. The city is doing a lot of things, but we don't seem to tutor anymore, which I think plays the assumption that I'm probably not doing anything. So I like this particular product. I'm familiar with Civic Plus, which we've also had a demo of, but it tends to be kind of like a Cadillac plan. Expensive, lots of bells and whistles. And I use the smaller company, this version that has the app attached to it. It's very professional and it comes in at a lot less than the Civic Plus. We've also looked at agenda options, which I've discussed before. They seem to be compatible with this website that we're looking at. So that will let us build the agenda, put it online, have bookmarks, videos, and everything kind of tracking for the online public meeting space. So I'm kind of, after having a few demos and seeing a few things, homing in on, I think might be the solution that fits what our community seems to be needing. It's just access to information, access to the agendas, access to the meetings, and easy access to be able to click through and see the things that are there. So we're going to home in a little bit more on these two products, make sure that they work well.
Since this is the same way you were talking about before, we can put the projects tab on there, and people can click on the project tab and see, you know, when things are scheduled to be fixed on this street, this location.
Yeah, no, a lot of that is just really website management. We can do those products as long as we have the buttons set up, which Civic Plus a little bit, you can do just the same there. The thing we liked about the other product, Aptitude, was they have real-time customer service, so you can chat with them online within a couple of minutes. You've got a human talking to you about how to figure something out. So if we can't figure out how to put the button on, they can figure out how to put the button on. And then both of them automatically scale the cell phone, so you can access the website just fine. But one thing we really liked the Aptitude demo was it comes with an app. So you have a city app that goes on your phone and has some notifications and things like that. So you can get the news on your phone. So hopefully you have, maybe you have Facebook. The Facebook folks probably already get things, but folks like myself, if the road's closed, I get a quick ping in the morning, I'll know. But if it's on Facebook, I still don't know. I'm still probably going to drive down the road and go, city didn't let me know the road was closed. We have kind of a plan, and hopefully the issue will have something kind of refined, but I wanted to share with you guys some of the progress we're making on that regard, and hopefully the community at large is watching as well. Knows that we're working to get something better out there as soon as we can. Hopefully this year it's not close for years. I think they're getting a bit late. I'll let you guys decide and put it together. And housing survey, planning and development's put a survey out there just to kind of get a community feel for some of the housing styles, fits and needs that might be out there. We're not saying we're going to put in a bunch of houses. I think some folks in the community just took it as we're just going to focus on building homes. We want to build homes, but yes, there are other needs. Just encourage you to go down there and just fill it out. Make your voices and opinions known. Similarly with the community survey that I put out, as of right now, 29 people have taken the survey. You kind of need to get out there. If folks are interested, they want people to know what's going on, they want their voice heard, they need to be heard. 28 people driving the community, and 28 people tell us they want to pave 100 acres. Nobody else speaks up. Maybe we pave 100 acres, I don't know. So probably need to get out there and let us know what you want. So we can use that to gauge temperature and fit and feel what we do use that. I use that. I've used that in previous community to figure out what they need. Some of it's surprising. So no idea is too crazy. Just remember it will be a public document. So we did have one hateful comment earlier in the survey. Just remember it's if you don't want your mom to read stuff that you write on there, probably don't write it. And then last thing, I'm planning another coffee hour in August, on August the 9th at 11 o'clock at the Hive. So another opportunity for folks in the community that have things that we want to talk about to swing by, just have a little chat, let me know your thoughts, ask me some questions. May not necessarily have the answers right then, but again, you can ask the question, I can get back to you, I can let you know what I know, or you can just be recorded as, hey, please look into this, and I can get onto it. So, that's also again, let's go over it.
All right, 18, new business. Just real quick, Mayor, I wanted to update the board on what is coming down the pipe. We have a lot of stuff that we're going to be rolling through planning commission. First and foremost, probably the mixed use ordinance, and they're going to be mulling this over for however long it's currently with the planning commission right now, and they'll take as much time as they need to feel comfortable with the ordinance. But it's in depth, it's complex, and it's pretty dynamic. And it's a new zone that we're proposing that allows them to pretty much dictate zoning, so they can come in and they actually get credit for different things. For example, if they're doing a residential neighborhood and they decide they want to put a grocery store in the residential neighborhood, this zone allows them to put a grocery store in the residential neighborhood. It gives the city opportunity to review early. It gives the developer opportunity to increase its density by doing certain things, by following our master trails plan or master parks plan
following the transportation plan, getting tree lined streets, the use of mixed zoning. So if they decide they decide they want a commercial development inside their residential, but they're mixing commercial and they're putting R3 apartments on top of the commercial, they would actually get a bonus for that. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to promote infill and not urban sprawl. And that allows them to do that. What we're trying to do is put an ordinance out there that works for the developer in a residential situation, and also works for the guy downtown that wants to renovate his shop downtown. And it allows both, allows them to rezone that mixed use, adjust their setbacks, present everything to the planning commission and to the board, and they're scored. They'll be able to be scored. And if they obtain a certain score that is yet to be determined, they can be what is designated as a preferred developer, which means they meet that's the reason for the architectural design survey, is we want to know what Willard wants, you know? So if they come in and they meet the architectural standards, and there's a lot to it, and I'm just watering this down, but they can become a preferred developer. And what that does is it expedites their plan review on the building side. They're able to make block appointments for building inspections and different things like that. It makes them a preferred builder, so they're able to, on the back end, they're able to save time and money, which helps the developer also. So the city's able to get stuff that they deem important up front, and the developers able to get things that they deem important on the back end. So, but just
Might be a discussion for the future, but it seems they definitely want to be involved in that because it sounds like there's going to be an awful lot of grading and wide variance of abilities on the part of the developer, which space value, nice. I can also see a lot of conflict with the developer who wants to do something that does not pass. Another developer does something similar, but it does.
and
I can see a lot of conflict.
I tried this 3 months ago. The mixed use, they sent me to training, and this is the redo. And that's what we don't want. We don't want a developer coming in and using our own ordinance and taking advantage of us. And this will be thoroughly vetted through the planning commission. I told them we're gonna take as long as it takes. I just wanted to give the board, an update that this is coming down the pipe. And this is where we're looking to go. To me, if this is approved and everything like that, I would not hesitate to say that the old zoning you will probably not see. You will not see somebody coming in that says, I want to develop an R1 zone. Because this has so much.
Because why would you? I mean, you'd much rather have this because there's a lot more options.
Yep, and I'd much rather have that because that's what we're trying to promote, is infill, and not, hey, I have 3 houses per acre for the next 500 acres, you know? So it does give them some options. The city does get some stuff back in return. Like I said, but the review process, it goes before a staff developer. It'll go before staff before it even gets to planning commission. It goes 4 rounds of planning commission, and then it comes back to Alderman for preliminary plat approval. And after you guys, if it's approved, it's the same as any subdivision. It goes through construction drawings, everything like that. If it's built, it's checked to see if it's built in accordance to all the conditions that were put.
And I'm not gonna get in a game here, but we're not talking about changing, say, a particular neighborhood zoning so that people live there for 40 years and now there is a grocery store right next to you.
This is strictly new development.
You develop.
Correct. Yeah. You would have a really hard time doing it in, if I had a 20-acre piece in the middle of a residential neighborhood, they technically could come in and apply. the thing is it's supposed to be in harmony with the surrounding neighborhoods and the vision of Willard. So, there is a lot to interpretation, but I believe that, you know, we still will have our hand fully on the pulse of the development. So,
Unfortunately, some lively discussions.
I think another thing to your question, I suspect Missouri's about the same with including zoning. If you're gonna change a residential zone, it's like a grocery store, and then you have to have a hearing.
Yeah.
So you flag it in emails, mails. So it's not gonna be an overnight thing. There'll be plenty of opportunity. Somebody.
Well, the difference on mixed use though is it's big enough that it may not trigger that hearing if you're, I don't know what the distance is you have to give the hearing notice to,
But as far as the existing zone.
yeah, but if you're trying to change something, it's just through.
but even, I think even in the mixed use, I think it's still noticing, because it is a zone change.
You have to have a hearing, but if your radius from where the zone change is includes the whole development, then you're not really hitting any other houses or any other.
And I don't know if we're centered or if we're boundary, you know, and that would make all the difference, you know, and I think it's 180 feet is what the ordinance states, and I think we do 250 just to make sure that people are getting notices. So,
Statute's 185.
yeah, but I think we pay extra to go 250. So.
Because you put more angry people.
Because, I mean, if anybody should be before the board of aldermen, it should be the people with torches and pitchforks. So, but just a heads up, that's coming down the pipe for you. And like I said, the planning commission will duly vet it, and they've had some great ideas in the past. I'm sure we'll have some lively discussion in the future. And then I'm sure Nate will treat this like all my other ordinances. Be a 3-ring circus. So, thank you.
The unfinished business, number 19. Have nothing else, number 20. Adjourn meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting at the end of the chapter. Second.
We have the first and second, Alderman Nelson,
Clarence.
Alderman Key,
Yes.
Alderman Plucker.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we change.